Hello, this is Timothy Perfett from Twocanoes Software, and I want to show you how to install the latest build of Identity Manager. A little bit overview on what Identity Manager is. It's a way to do signing operations without having to have the certificate and the private key inside your keychain. So one of the issues, there's two main issues that it helps solve. The first one is if your organization has an HSM or a hardware signing module that's available on the network where you keep all your certificates and your private keys stored away, and you only give people access to it after you've made sure that they have the rights to do that, and it has full auditing. The other ones is if you don't have that, but you have multiple developers in your organization and you're constantly swapping around these keys to the developer keys from Apple for making iOS apps, or in some cases macOS apps, or even signing packages for deployment through MDM, that you might have multiple people using these certificates, and if somebody revokes one or you don't have good control over them, it can become very logistically very difficult. So what this allows you to do is you install the certificate and the private key into a centralized machine, and then it allows you to through the client do all the signing operations just through the keychain like you normally would. So you still use the same Apple tools, whether it's codesign or packaging up something, it would use that, but instead of doing the signing operations locally in the keychain, it does it over the network. So let me show you how this all works with the latest build. So I have an HSM, which is kind of our virtual server that will be able to provide the service, and then we have a client. This would be like a developer's machine or a build machine. First thing I'll do is I'll install the server service. So I'll open this disk image in the latest build, and it's a very simple Node.js application, and so it's under additional software. It's a thing called HSM server. So I'll just drive that right to the desktop and unmount this disk image, and you can see in here it has 4 different items. First one is a configuration file, and this tells it what certificate to make available on the network. This certificate and private key has to be in your keychain. It's not in there yet, but this will be used by the application to say to use this one. And here's a P12 that actually contains the identity. So we don't want to put it into our system keychain. We want to put it into our login keychain. There we go. And in order for it not to prompt the user, we'll just go into access control and say, hey, this application, which is here, the SM server, is allowed to have access to that key, so it won't prompt. So I put that in, and it's done. This is the actual signing. This is the tool that looks up stuff in the keychain, and this is the one that's the server makes available on the network. So what we'll do is we'll go into terminal. We'll go into here and start it running. So now it's running on the network. There is I want to make sure the host name's correct. I called this one VM for the client. So I'm going to call this, change the VM, and I'll just start any service. It's not really required, but Bonjour doesn't work for some reason unless you start a service. So that's done on the server part, and I'll leave this running over here. And then on the client part, I will go in and install the software that would be used for the signing operations or for inserting into the keychain. So I'll open this up, and there's 2 pieces of software that you need installed. Under additional software, there's a virtual serial driver. This allows you to insert and remove the certificate to the keychain dynamically. Okay. It's installed, and then I'll go back and we'll actually install the Identity Manager. And what Identity Manager is a crypto token kit driver, as well as a status menu item to be able to kind of see the status of it. Okay, so I installed this. Good. So that's been installed. Let me open up terminal and verify that I can ping that other machine. Connectivity is important. There it is. It can ping. And in here in the applications folder, there is a identity manager application, and it makes a menu item. So we put this up here, and I'll just click on refresh. Sometimes it requires a reboot because it does install that the virtual serial driver sometimes requires a reboot. So yeah, it does look like it needs a reboot. So I'll do a restart, and then when it comes back up, it will be able to use that certificate for that identity for the signing operations. Okay, it's back. So let's go ahead and open up the identity manager again. And so now if I go up here and I refresh it, it should make that key available. There it is. It does show this smart card pairing. We're not doing it for smart cards, so we don't need to worry about that. So it does show the test software available. The one thing you'll see is that here it actually shows that it published a certificate. So let's try a signing operation now. So if we go in to our into terminal, and let's re-sign an application. Let's take text edit. We copy text edit and go to temp and put it there, and we'll just re-sign that one. So the first thing we'll do is look at what the current signature is at it, and we'll look at temp text edit, and you can see that it's been signed by Apple. And so what we want to do is change so it's signed by this test software distribution. Of course, instead of this example, you would be using one of the Apple certificates that were used for app signing. But for this one, because I obviously can't distribute my signing certificate and private key, I just did a sample one. So what I'll do is do codesign, and it's an Apple tool using the keychain, but it's going to use the signing operation is going to happen over the network. So we'll do -F, which forces it because it's already signed. We have to do the subject, and so I'll just copy the CN, which is the subject of that identity. So test software distribution, and then we get a path to the application to sign. There we go. It does prompt for the private key. I thought we did the to allow, but it doesn't matter. I just hit always allow, so it won't prompt me again. And it signed it, replaced the signature. So now if we look at it again, you can see it's no longer signed by Apple, it's signed by us. If I try and sign it again, it should go right through, which it did. It didn't prompt on the server for access to that keychain item, because that's a one-time operation. So now we're able to, without having any signing certificates in our keychain, if you look in the keychain, it has, if I look under my certificates, login keychain, it doesn't have that certificate I'm using to sign. But is using it for utilities through the keychain. So this allows a very simple way, whether you're going to a hardware signing module, or if you're just using it through the server to share this signing operations. This is an initial build, so we only have the ability to do one certificate. That's going to be expanded to have multiple certificates, as well as do some authentication and auditing as well. One other piece I wanted to show you is some configuration, or how the actual network calls work. The crypto token kit doesn't do network calls directly. It actually calls a shell script, and the shell script then calls the network. So this allows for extendability and some testing in this early stages. So the script lives in tilde library application scripts, com.Twocanoes TCS crypto token, TCS token. And here's the actual shell script. This one has the URL that it goes to, vm.local, which is the other machine here. And then it has the getting the certificate operation, as well as sending the hash to be signed. So the idea here is that while we're in development, as well as even when people want to deploy it, it can do these signing operations. You can add in any custom pieces that you want to be able to customize this signing operation. So that's the current status. Please download it and install it and check it out, and let me know how it goes. Thanks very much for watching.